searching for the school bus. Kids in one local district still waiting for a school bus to show up each morning. What's gone wrong? We'll have a live report.
And one more cold front with some heavy rain is all that separates us from a dry stretch of weather. Full details and the forecast at 11.
Live from WTEN, this is News 10 at 11 on the news station.
Kids are left waiting for the school bus in Troy, and now parents want answers. Good evening, I'm Elisa Streeter. It's been a rough first couple of weeks for some students in the Troy City School District. Several school bus routes have been consistently late, causing classes to be missed. The district says they are aware of the problem, and they're working on fixing it. News 10 reporter Robert Boyd is live in Troy with the latest. Robert.
Well, Lisa, I'm standing in front of Doyle Middle School in the city of Troy. And earlier tonight, I spoke with the interim superintendent of the Troy School District, Dr. Bryan Howard. And he said in his 40 years of education, he's never seen a bigger fiasco than what's taking place right now with their transportation situation. Now, they've got a contract with the Durham Bus Company. And according to the interim superintendent, this company failed to hire enough drivers, failed to get enough buses, and didn't do any kind of dry run over the summer to prepare for the first day of school. And as a result, they've had a lot of delays and a lot of problems.
The bus been coming late, and we be out here waiting and waiting, but it's like, come on, like, when is it gonna come?
Omar Brown is one of hundreds of students in the Troy City School District who have been continuously picked up late by the school bus.
Missing like one period, then second period, then third.
On the first day of school, many students weren't even picked up at all.
Weren't at the right bus stop, or they weren't told to be at the right spot, so they missed. I know my neighbor's son missed the first day of school.
Parent Teresa Perillo said she's heard about students waiting up to 45 minutes at the bus stop.
Getting to school late is definitely an issue if they're missing an important class like math or science.
In a statement from the school district, the district said, "These delays are unacceptable, and we'd like to apologize for any inconvenience caused as a result of these issues." They blame the problem in large part to new bus drivers.
I would imagine that they would have been working on this through the summer to make sure that the buses had the right schedules, that they had the times right, and the routes correct.
Many people believe transitioning School 12 from an elementary school to a middle school was the biggest issue. The district says that's not the case.
There was some confusion about which kids were going to which schools because of the closing of the elementary school here.
Now, Dr. Howard said he hopes to have all these problems resolved by this coming Monday. He also said those responsible for all these mistakes, both inside the school district and with the bus company, will definitely be held accountable. Live in Troy, Robert Boyd, News 10.
Thank you, Robert. The 13-year-old boy accused of accidentally shooting and killing 12-year-old Nicholas Nomkin has been ordered to serve 2 years probation. That ruling came this afternoon from a Saratoga family court judge who says almost everyone agrees Nicholas's death was accidental, not intentional. News 10 Steve Pacer joins us now from the newsroom with more. Steve.
Elisa, back in August, this 13-year-old boy admitted to firing the gun that killed Nicholas. Even with that admission, the judge today says the boy has expressed remorse and sadness and isn't a danger to society. Because this case is a family court case, we cannot show the face of the boy or his family or even mention their names.
But for now, my clients are relieved that this legal proceeding is over. They continue to grieve from this tragic accident.
After a 3-month court process, the boy accused of killing Nicholas Nomkin on December 22nd learned he'll spend the next 2 years on probation. Because of his involvement in Nicholas's death, during the probation, the boy cannot possess or receive any training with firearm and must attend therapy. The now teenager waived his right to any appeal on this case, something the judge repeatedly asked if he understood.
This particular case had a lot of elements. It's a very serious case, and we wanted to make sure that his agreeing to that disposition was knowing and voluntary.
The judge took into account the psych evaluation for Nicholas's friend and also a letter to the court from Nicholas's father. Before ordering the probation, the judge said the 13-year-old is a positive and healthy child.
Nothing much that could be said about that other than what the judge recited on the record, which that he's a normal child. He has a loving relationship with his parents. He's doing well in school.
The father of the 13-year-old boy also still faces charges in Wilton Town Court because it was his gun used on that night.
Well, right now it's sitting in limbo. Motions have been filed. We anticipate the judge ruling on it sometime by the end of the month.
I talked to Nicholas's mom, Oksana, over the phone earlier tonight. She says she and her husband have said everything they could about this case, and there's nothing more to add. She also said this will bring some closure, but nothing will change what happened, and no matter what the outcome was today, it's still something they'll have to live with for the rest of their lives. Steve Pacer, News 10.
All right, thank you very much, Steve. Meteorologist Bryan Bachman now is in for Steve Caprizzo tonight. He joins us with the storm tracker forecast. Brian.
Yeah, it's looking a little dicey for the next 24 hours, but then we're going to kind of come right back out of it. But here's tonight's forecast. We're already dealing with a little bit of drizzle in some parts of the area tonight, but I think it's going to stay just that through about, let's say, 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. For tonight, lows are comfortable again, 55 in Albany, 53 Saratoga Springs, pretty much in the low 50s in all of the surrounding locations. A little warmer down in Hudson, but comparatively so, 57 degrees, and a chilly night nonetheless in Indian Lake, and it's going to be getting even chillier in the coming days. Nonetheless, for the morning commute tomorrow, I think the morning commute is okay. You might run into a shower or two, a temperature around 55 degrees, but it's the evening commute that I have concerns about, and we'll detail all of those coming up in the full forecast a little bit later.
All right, thanks so much, Brian. A Schenectady man faces murder and manslaughter charges today after police say he killed his girlfriend's toddler son. 33-year-old John Batiste told police that 20-month-old Asaya Maxim fell out of a playpen and hit his head in June. However, an autopsy showed the child died from blunt force trauma. Police say Batiste was the only person home with Asaya when it happened. And the Colonie mom who admitted stealing $100,000 from the county welfare system is out of jail. Angela Lopez had been released from the Albany County Jail on bail while she is appealing her conviction. Officials tell us Lopez posted cash bail, $50,000. This summer, Lopez was sentenced to 2 to 6 years in prison and ordered to pay back the $100,000 she took. Lopez pleaded guilty to the theft back in May, but tried to take back her plea a few weeks later. She is now appealing her conviction. Albany police have arrested a 46-year-old city man in connection with a 2008 rape. It comes after DNA evidence connected him to the alleged crime. Alan Johnson was charged with rape in the first degree after police say he forced the victim at knife point into an unintended park taxi near Colonie and Water Street. DNA evidence collected from the scene was matched with Johnson after he was arrested in March of this year for unlawful imprisonment. A car chase between the Colonie police and a suspect ends with some officers injured and cop cars damaged. Police tell us when they responded an attempted armed break-in, the suspect took off, leading the police on a chase from Omega Terrace to Central Avenue. While in pursuit, the driver allegedly ran into 2 police cars before he crashed his own car into a guardrail. Then the suspect ran off on foot, and some officers were injured jumping over a wall trying to catch him. They did, and the suspect is now in custody. No one was minding the store. That's what State Controller Thomas DiNapoli says after an audit shows a Saratoga County Fire Department treasurer was shopping at taxpayer expense to the tune of $500,000. Authorities say 50-year-old Virginia DiCaprio began stealing from the Charlton Fire District soon after taking the position in 2005. Town officials requested the audit, which is how they discovered DiCaprio padded her salary, wrote checks to herself, and used the district's credit cards. While her husband did serve as fire chief during much of that time, the district attorney says he was not aware.
He was in no way responsible for, nor did he have any idea that she was doing this. So, you know, certainly I think we could characterize his reaction as shocked.
Charlton says it plans to create oversight and will seek restitution. As for DiCaprio, she's facing 5 felony charges, including grand larceny and falsifying business records. Well, in last night's special election, some incumbents in the Capital Region lost the vote. Those scenarios also repeated in other elections across New York. News 10's Taryn Fitsik is live in Albany with whether or not local voters think that is a trend that will continue through the 2012 election. Taryn.
Elisa, many people I spoke with tonight say despite the fact that the 2012 election is still a year away, in their opinion, incumbents' work needs to begin now if they want to stay in office. Many say voters are ready for change.
Even if the incumbent is a good politician, I still think they're going to have difficulties, say, until the economy does improve.
I think about 40% of the current U.S. Congress is probably going to be either voted out or is going to have to change their political tactics if they want to get reelected.
Whether it's a local election or a national one, voters from the Capital Region say people will be paying close attention to the moves those in office make during the next year amidst a slow job market and a recession.
I think there's going to be a huge turnout, and you know, say until the economy does turn around, I believe that these politicians are really going to have to work for the votes.
I think that change is necessary, but for that, we need to make the political system more fluid, so incumbents are not almost automatically eligible for re-election.
New York's two senators, Kirsten Gillibrand and Chuck Schumer, also voiced their opinions today, the day after special elections throughout the state.
There's enormous volatility in the electorate right now, largely because they want to get things done. They want change in Washington. They want people to come to the table, get things done, pass jobs bill, pass FEMA relief, really do the people's business.
The bottom line is it's not a bellwether district. Anybody who tries to extrapolate between what's happened in this district and what would happen in New York City, New York State, or the country is making a big mistake.
Voters saying no incumbent should be too comfortable, knowing how quickly an upset can happen.
I believe any incumbent has some real issues until the economy turns around, because there's so many people out there that have lost jobs and are really struggling just to pay their bills and make ends meet.
And the people that I spoke with this evening, whether they have a lot to do with politics or follow it closely, they all believe the 2012 election will be a big one. They expect the lines to be long and say many people probably will be paying very close attention during this next year, not just for about those who are running, but those who are in office and what they're going to be doing with the time left while they are there. Reporting live from Albany, Taryn Fitsik, News 10.
Thank you, Taryn. The White House is answering some tough questions tonight about ties to an energy company that got millions in federal loans, plus human remains found during a search for a missing mother. And remember, if you see news happening or you have a story idea, you can contact us anytime by email, phone, or through our Twitter page.
News 10 is brought to you by Taft Furniture, the big store. When you choose, you can't lose at Taft. Take 3 years to pay interest-free or save up to 50% off Taft's ticketed prices.
You're watching News 10 at 11 on the news station.
The Obama administration is facing growing questions about its ties to a solar energy company that received a $535 million government loan only to land in bankruptcy court. ABC's Tamon Bradley has the story from Washington.
President Obama's White House has a new headache. Congress is investigating the Obama administration's connection to an energy company that received a $500 million loan and then collapsed.
Why did the administration think Solyndra was such a good bet?
The solar energy company Solyndra had its loan placed on the fast track shortly after President Obama took office, and investigators are poring over documents trying to find out why.
Documents reviewed by the committee staff raise serious concerns about whether this deal was better for the taxpayers.
New emails show Solyndra got its $535 million loan despite apprehension from some inside the government. The issue of working capital remains unresolved, wrote a Department of Energy official just weeks before the loan was approved in 2009. The message accurately warns Solyndra runs out of cash in September 2011. The loan went through, and in 2 years, Solyndra was bankrupt, with taxpayers on the hook for the bill. Documents show Solyndra's own auditors spotted problems, writing, the company has suffered recurring losses from operations and negative cash flows since inception. Today, a Department of Energy official told Congress the government thought Solyndra would be able to repay its loan.
Solyndra appeared to be well-positioned to compete and succeed in the global marketplace.
The White House tells ABC News there was no political influence, and the Department of Energy says professional investors thought the company was a good bet before the government. Tamon Bradley, ABC News, Washington.
The open road may soon be a little more lonely for truckers. The National Transportation Safety Board is recommending commercial truck drivers be banned from using mobile phones behind the wheel. The recommendation includes handheld and hands-free phones. It could affect millions of truckers. While the board can only make suggestions, its actions often lead to state and federal laws. It was the third and final day discussing the future of the Vermont Yankee nuclear plant. Entergy Corp maintains Vermont is trying to close the state's only reactor over concerns about nuclear safety. The company says the state is preempted from doing that because under federal law it's preempted. Vermont says it had other reasons for closing the plant, including a loss of confidence in the company after the company misled the state about underground piping around the Vernon reactor. The decision will be up to the judge, and it could be weeks before a decision is made. And now we're going to take another look at the traffic out there, or
Just
allergy?
The allergy report, I think, tonight. You know, people, that's been bugging people so much with these ups and downs with the allergies. But the good news is that at least for tomorrow now, while we don't need the rain, it'll kind of do us a little bit of a favor. Here's the report. So we had mold on the high side today. Grass kind of dropped back to moderate. Ragweed still low. It's been an unusual year for ragweed, but I think if you folks are sensitive to that, you're certainly not complaining. Tomorrow, everything on the low side due to some rain, and we'll tell you all about that rain coming up and when you can expect it to end in the full forecast right after this.
News 10 weather is brought to you by Furniture Theater. Visit Furniture Theater Route 9 Malta today or see our designer selections as featured in the Saratoga Showcase of Homes at Timberlake. Now, your News 10 Storm Tracker forecast live with meteorologist Bryan Bachman.
If you're looking for good news, you got to look past tomorrow, and then there's plenty of it.
That's right. Tomorrow's the speed bump. Then it's smooth sailing for several days. So let's get right to it.
Okay.
Get to some good news after the bad news. 7 a.m. tomorrow, it's mostly cloudy, a few showers. We've actually got some drizzle moving into western parts of the area already tonight, but I think it will stay just that drizzle through at least a good portion of the overnight. We'll start the day off at 55 tomorrow. Mostly cloudy, a few showers across much of the area. By noon, I think a steady rain starts to take over across really the entire area. Could also see a rumble of thunder, too. Temperature around 60 degrees at lunchtime and looking like a pretty nasty commute home tomorrow. Temperature of only 61 degrees, showers, thunderstorms, and some of those could have a few heavy downpours. I'm not anticipating a widespread flooding type of event, but if you live in a poor drainage area or a low-lying area, pay special attention tomorrow with some of that rain coming in. Highs today. Today was our transition day. We went from the summertime weather yesterday. Now we're slipping into some fall-like weather, and today's the day that's stuck in the middle. 77 was the high in Albany, 76 in Glens Falls, middle 70s for Bennington, North Adams, and Pittsfield. Low 80s, though, in Poughkeepsie, and you folks in Hudson actually made it into the low 80s as well. Temperatures dropping off, but still remaining comfortable at this hour. We're at 64 in Albany, 61 Saratoga Springs, low 60s in Glens Falls, already down to 50, though, up at Saranac Lake, still hanging on to the low 70s at Hudson, and low 60s and upper 50s off to the east. Now, we've had these frontal boundaries kind of stuck in this position for the better part of the last 24 hours. This was yesterday's front, brought those showers and storms across parts of the Adirondacks, even that unconfirmed tornado warning that you had up there in parts of the area last night. But notice, front didn't get too far, kind of sunk just to the east of the Berkshires and Albany. Then it kind of got stuck, so now the secondary stronger cold front is actually catching up to it. And what this front is actually going to do, the stationary one that is, it's going to serve to kind of slow the progress of the cold front down just a little bit. It's still going to be a moving, fast-moving storm system, that is. It's not going to be one that sticks around for a while and drops inches of rain on us. But some of the forecast data suggests that on the higher end tomorrow with this rain that's coming in, we can see as much as an inch of rain in a few locations. So we'll have to keep a sharp eye on it. But nonetheless, here comes that first wave of drizzly patches, mainly over the Adirondacks right now, some in the western Mohawk Valley, but the main bulk of the rain still lurking over the Midwest, and what it's going to do is just ride up and along that frontal zone tomorrow. Gets here shortly after the morning time hours, sometime around mid-morning, I think, is when we start to see the first waves of steadier rain coming in, and then the rest of it has to progress eastward. But like we said, we'll see that here on the Futurecast, it's going to be a fast mover. So we'll start the day off 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, maybe a few scattered showers around, but you can see the steadiest rain still off to our west. Then it all kind of slowly slides eastward. By about lunchtime, folks around Lake George, Glens Falls, and into the western hill towns, much of the Mohawk Valley too, Catskills, that's what it looks like to be the heaviest rain, maybe a few rumbles of thunder too. The whole system continues eastward throughout the afternoon and evening, but notice, by the time of the evening commute, while we will still have a good amount of rain around, we're kind of getting into the last legs of the storm system, and then it's quickly out of here. I think by 8 or 9 o'clock tomorrow night, a lot of us already starting to dry out and clear out too. Partly to mostly sunny conditions will take over on Friday. It's going to be a gorgeous day and a much cooler day, but more importantly, this dry weather that's setting in on Friday, it's going to last for a good portion, probably into at least the first couple of days of next week. For tomorrow, though, as we mentioned, the only speed bump in the road, showers and thunderstorms, occasional rain. Keep that umbrella handy, and also, of course, watch out for some flooding in some of those low-lying areas. And take a look at the temperatures, though. Maybe take along a little bit of a lighter coat tomorrow. Highs only getting into the low 60s at best. 61 Saratoga Springs, low 50s, though, hanging on in Indian Lake with a high tomorrow of 52 degrees. 55 will be the low tonight here in Albany. Late night shower in most parts of the area. I think it'll just be drizzle or a very light shower at best through the overnight. Then tomorrow, periods of rain could be heavy at times, maybe a rumble of thunder too. High of 62 degrees. Now, we'll keep those temperatures going into the weekend, but I prefer to think of it more as a refreshing change of pace.
Okay.
And of course, an early taste of fall, to say the least. Fall doesn't technically begin until a week from Friday at about 5 o'clock in the morning. So this Friday, though, partly to mostly sunny, 63, and a gorgeous weekend. And it's not really until late Tuesday where I think we see our next shot at any rain. So we just got to get through tomorrow.
All right. Thanks so much, Brian. Well, Princess Diana's wedding dress is on display not too far away from here. We're going to tell you where you can see it. Plus, the Mets try to end a 4-game losing streak against the Nationals tonight. Drew Brill has the highlights coming up next on News 10 Sports.
Now, News 10 Sports Live with Drew Brill.
The Mets were mathematically eliminated from the playoffs today, and with that came the news that Johan Santana will not pitch at all for the Mets this year. After making a few rehab starts in the minors, he will pitch a simulated game Sunday, then head off to the instructional league and get ready for spring training. As for the Mets, they play the Nationals tonight. Terry Collins saying he still wants his team to go out and play hard every day. Top of the third, Mike Pelfrey to Michael Morse. He singles to center, scoring Ian Desmond, 1-0 Nats. Next batter, Jason Worth singles right back at Pelfrey. Ryan Zimmerman comes in to score, makes it 2-0. Mets had their opportunities, but lose it 2-0. Red Sox this afternoon, Edwin Encarnacion off John Lackey, the single to center. Eric Thames will score the game's first run. Next batter, Kelly Johnson hits one. That's into the Bermuda Triangle. Jose Bautista scores, 2-0 Blue Jays. In the second, Ryan Lavarnway to the left side. Brett Lawrie boots it. Dustin Pedroia scores, it's 2-1. Jason Varitek then hits the fielder's choice. Kevin Youkilis comes home to tie the game. Bottom six, Adrian Gonzalez goes deep off Ricky Romero, giving the Sox a 4-2 lead, and all looked well until the eighth. Daniel Bard struggles. Adam Lewin singles to center. The tying and leading runs will score to give the Blue Jays a 5-4 lead. Frank Francisco gets the Sox in order for the save. Sox lose a tough one, 5-4. In Houston today, Roy Halladay going for the Phillies, looking to clinch a playoff berth. Halladay gets the strikeout to end the game for his 7th complete game and 18th win on the season, as the Phillies clinch a playoff berth for the 5th straight year and are the first team to punch their ticket to the postseason. Yankees finishing up their 7-game road trip tonight in Seattle. Right now they're in the 5th inning. Seattle has a 1-0 lead. Some good news for the Giants tonight. Justin Tuck was back at practice today. And Hakeem Nicks only had a bruised knee, so he is hopeful for Monday.
They're going to need him.
All right, yeah. After that performance on Sunday, we kind of need all of our guys back.
Getting a little healthy.
Good. Well, the morning commute tomorrow, I think, is not really the trouble spot. It's going to be the evening commute where we're going to have a little bit of rain. And, you know, it's going to be one of those days. It's the only speed bump left. We'll have more on that coming up.
Stretch.
So it's going to be a nice stretch. We'll show you the final 7-day forecast after some more news right after the break.
Police say they have found human remains during a search for a missing mother in Utah's rugged desert. The remains were not immediately identified, and it is not clear if the body was that of Susan Cox Powell. The remains were found by cadaver dogs as authorities search for clues in her disappearance. Authorities have been searching the area since Monday. They say it's near a site where Powell's husband likes to camp. He is a person of interest in the case. The mother of 2 was last seen in December 2009. The death toll from Joplin, Missouri's May 22nd tornado is up to 162 after Jasper County's coroner added 2 more people to the list. The 2 people added died from injuries suffered during the storm. The tornado damaged or destroyed about 8,000 homes and businesses. The Missouri Insurance Department says more than $1 billion in payments had been made as of the 1st of the month. BP gets most of the blame. A federal report on the biggest offshore oil spill in U.S. history puts the ultimate responsibility on the oil company, especially when it comes to a cement seal that was put in place a day before the explosion that triggered that spill. The report says in the days leading up to the disaster, BP made a series of decisions that complicated the cementing operations and added risk. Some confusion today over the pending release of 2 American hikers in Iran. Today, Iran's powerful judiciary said it was still reviewing the bail provisions. This seems to contradict information released yesterday that a $500,000 bail had been set for Josh Fatal and Shane Bauer. Still, their lawyer says he's moving ahead with the bail arrangements for them when Swiss embassy officials. The 2 Americans have been imprisoned in Iran for more than 2 years, accused of spying. It's a dress that was seen by millions of people around the world and is now on display at Foxwoods. The wedding dress of Princess Diana is on display at the Connecticut resort. The dress is guarded 24/7. 27/7 would be interesting. Believe it or not, only 2 people have ever even touched that dress since the wedding. It hasn't even been cleaned. The dress, along with the bridesmaid dresses, cost just under $2,000. That seems hard to believe given what they spend on weddings today. And it's at the Foxwoods Casino.
Yeah, we work enough. I don't want 27/7.
27/7.
That's right.
That's a
27
special kind of
hours a
security
day.
guard. They make extra.
Those are good guys.
Yeah.
So aside from that speed bump in the road for tomorrow, the forecast not looking too bad. We just got to get through those bouts of rain, maybe a few thunderstorms tomorrow. But after that, it's looking good for the weekend. 63 the high on Friday, some sunshine, and we'll take that dry weather through at least Tuesday.
And that's going to do it for us. Nightline is next. We'll see you tomorrow. Good night.